Hi, I'm Justin Best, and today I will be presenting on the biographical legal drama Erin Brockovich, directed by Steven Soderbergh and written by Susanna Grant. The film Erin Brockovich was based on the story of a struggling mother who becomes a legal assistant for Ed Masry. Together, they worked hard to bring down a powerful gas and electric company in California that was polluting the water in the low-income city of Hinckley. With the help of a major law firm, Erin and Ed received a settlement from Pacific Gas and Electric for $333 million, which was the largest settlement awarded in a direct action lawsuit in the history of the United States. While filing papers at Ed Masry's law firm, Erin stumbles upon unusual papers that she ends up doing more research on. After researching, she is convinced that there are unsafe levels of chromium-6 in the city of Hinckley's water system. Chromium-6, when exposed to humans, can cause skin burns, pneumonia, complications during childbirth, and cancer. PG&E were using it as a corrosion-resistant coating for their factory. Erin informs Ed Masry of her findings and asks him to help her file a lawsuit against the giant corporation responsible for the contamination. Reluctant at first, Masry agrees to team up with Brockovich to gain justice for the citizens of Hinckley. Learning that most of the diseases and complications that the people are having can be directly related to overexposure to chromium-6, they start talking to local residents, discovering that Pacific Gas and Electric had made multiple generous offers to the residents to convince them to move. PG&E misinformed the residents by telling them that chromium-6 was harmless, never warning them that they would be at risk. Unaware of the side effects of exposure to chromium-6, residents declined their offers and continued to live in constant exposure. After meeting with many of the residents, Brockovich then goes out to find more hard evidence to take down PG&E. She visits the Board of Water in the city in search of water quality reports that would prove that the company knew they were violating public health safety by exposing citizens to too much chromium-6. She and Masry collaborated with a big-time attorney firm in Los Angeles on the case. As a result, a direct action lawsuit was formed against the company. In the end, the residents of Hinckley, California were awarded $333 million. Erin Brockovich's character in the film has been modified to make her appear more authentic and relatable. According to Brockovich herself, the movie was true and probably 98% accurate. One small detail she said that was changed in the film was her title win as Miss Wichita in a beauty pageant. She was actually crowned Miss Pacific Coast. But because she was originally from Kansas, director Steven Soderbergh thought it would be cute if she had won her beauty contest in her home state. But the behavior of a beauty pageant winner is not very noticeable in the film, as her provocative and unruly behavior upstages most of her generous actions. What also isn't believable is that the real Ed Masry, portrayed by Albert Feenan. Generally, lawyers are portrayed as dominant people, especially in the workplace. In the first scene of this clip, Erin, portrayed by Julia Roberts, is confronted on her business attire by her boss, Ed Masry. In the second scene, she is fired for not showing up to work. These two scenes portray the submissiveness of the character Ed Masry and the dominant, unruly behavior of Erin Brockovich.
Look, now you may want to, now that you're working here, you may want to rethink your wardrobe a little.
Why is that?
Well, I think some of the girls are a little uncomfortable because of what you wear.
Is that so? Well, it just so happens I think I look nice. And as long as I have one ass instead of two, I'll wear what I like, if that's all right with you. You might want to rethink those ties.
Here.
What's going on?
Well, there may be jobs where you can disappear for days at a time, but this isn't one of them. Here, you don't do the work, you don't get to stay.
I've been working. That's all I've been doing. Ask Mr. Masry. He knows.
You asked Mr. Masry. He fired you.
You said to fire me?
I'll call you back. You've been gone for a week.
I left a message. I've been dealing with this real estate thing. I was going to write a whole damn report.
Well, that's not how we work here. You don't just leave a message and take off.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Check in every 2 seconds?
Yes, it's called accountability.
I'm not talking to you.
Excuse me!
That's enough! Look, Erin, this incident aside, I don't think this is the right place for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is make a few calls on your behalf and find something else.
Don't
okay?
bother.
Well, come on, I'm trying to help.
You're trying to make yourself feel less guilty about firing someone with 3 kids to feed. Well, I'm going to help you do that. Get back to work.
In the first scene of this clip, Erin Brockovich appears to deliberately use her cleavage to seduce the water board attendant to allow her to access the documents. The real Erin Brockovich has acknowledged that her cleavage may have had an influence, but denies consciously trying to influence individuals in this way. In the second scene, Erin jokes about how she was able to gain testimonies from Hinckley residents. These two scenes exemplify the over-sexualization of her character throughout the film, as well as her provocative and witty humor.
Can I do for you, Erin?
Well, believe it or not, I'm on the prowl for some water records.
You come to the right place.
I guess I did.
You just tell me what you want to look at, and I'd be glad to dig them out for you.
I wish I knew. It's for my boss. He's in this water dispute, and he wants me to find all kinds of papers just from all kinds of places. You know, it would probably be easiest if I just squeezed back there and poked around myself. Would that be all right with you?
Oh, heck yeah, come on back.
Okay.
I'm
634. They're all signed. Every single one.
Holy shit.
Now don't go getting jealous, Teresa. Jealous. We have something for you too. Internal PG&E documents, all about the contamination. The one that I like best says, and well, I'm paraphrasing here, but it says, yes, the water's poisonous, but it would be better for all involved if this matter was not discussed with the neighbors. It's to the Hinckley station from PG&E headquarters. Stamp received March 1966.
What? How did you do this?
Well, seeing as how I have no brains or legal expertise, and Ed here was losing all faith in the system, am I right?
Oh, yeah, completely no faith? No faith.
I just went up there and performed sexual favors. 634 blowjobs in 5 days. I'm really quite tired.
The film is a dramatization of real-life events, so there are inaccuracies throughout its plot. The film downplayed the vastness of the lawsuit. The speed of the trial and effect caused by the contamination seemed to occur rather fast. However, when I did research about the real incident, the contamination affected Hinckley for decades. In the last few scenes of the movie, it is portrayed that all of the citizens were happy with their settlement and the time it took for them to receive it. The case in the movie was perceived to be quick and neat, when in reality it was drawn out, extremely messy, and tremendously confusing for the plaintiffs involved. Articles came out after the film in which residents of Hinckley described their disappointment with the amount of money they ended up receiving, and how it took over 6 months for them to receive it. After paying 40% of the settlement to the lawyers as agreed in the beginning, they were then hit with a $10 million bill for unexplained expenses, which was also not depicted in the film. This left enough money for each of the 650 residents to receive around $300,000. But that was far from what happened. The money was distributed secretly and unfairly. Some victims only received $10,000, while others with similar conditions received $2 million. At the end of the movie, Erin was shown going out to Donna Jensen's, a fictional resident, home and informing her she was receiving $5 million. In reality, after the lawsuit was over, residents claimed neither Brockovich or Massery would answer or return their phone calls when asking where their money was or questioning the amount they received. I took a legal environment of business course in the fall of 2019 where we discussed this case, and I felt that the movie's populist victory depiction was needed in order to make the story seem heartwarming. I knew before watching this film that the Hinckley lawsuit was a case study in how the rise of private arbitration as an alternative to costly public trials that favored litigants who can afford it over those who cannot. The actual case wasn't as exciting and heartwarming as the movie makes it out to be, but this depiction makes the story more interesting, and Erin's portrayal by Julia Roberts adds heart and humor to the film. In this scene, Erin defends her research and puts attorney Teresa in her place by displaying an impressive amount of knowledge on the clients.
Start. We're just going to have to spend a little time filling in the holes in your research.
Excuse me, Teresa, is it? There are no holes in my research.
No offense. There's just some things we need that you probably didn't know to ask.
Don't talk to me like I'm an idiot, okay? I may not have a law degree, but I've spent 18 months on this case, and I know more about these plaintiffs than you ever will.
Erin, you don't even have phone numbers for some of them.
Whose number do you need?
Everyone's. This is a lawsuit. We need to be able to contact the plaintiffs.
I said, whose number do you need?
You don't know 600 plaintiffs' numbers by heart. Annabelle Daniels.
Annabelle Daniels, 714-454-9346. 10 years old, 11 in May. Lived on the Plume since birth. Wanted to be a synchronized swimmer, so she spent every minute she could in the PG&E pool. She had a tumor in her brainstem detected last November. An operation on Thanksgiving shrunk it with radiation after that. Her parents are Ted and Rita. Ted's got Crohn's disease. Rita has chronic headaches and nausea and underwent a hysterectomy last fall. Ted grew up in Hinckley. His brother Robbie and his wife May and their 5 children, Robbie Jr., Martha, Ed, Rose, and Peter, also lived on the Plume. Their number is 454-9554. You want their diseases?
Okay, look, I think we got off on the wrong foot here.
That's all you got, lady. 2 wrong feet and fucking ugly shoes.
The positive responses from critics towards the film mostly coincided with Julia Roberts' performance, highlighting her delivery and emotional scenes and comedic timing as impeccable. Negative reviews of the film honed in on the lack of development in Ed Masry's character, with some critics describing it as dry as beef jerky. I personally would highly recommend this movie for anyone who's a fan of legal dramas or just a fan of Julia Roberts. Here is my works cited. I sincerely appreciate your attention. Thank you.